Old Man Sarge, hobby update, October 14th, 2024. Doing this one just to kind of show my completed painting that I've done and to show some of the things that I'm acquiring and some of the things that I'm reading and looking at. But let's go over first the item that I've been painting, and that was the Nexus Chaotica for Slaves of Darkness. So I finished painting that this morning. It's the Slaves of Darkness faction terrain piece. And what it does is, if you're near it, you can spend 3 points from it to get a +1 to cast. So if you're within, I can't remember the distance, but it's, anyway, if you're next to it as a caster, you get +1 to cast. If you spend 3 points, at the beginning of the game you get a d6 points, and then every turn you roll a d6. You can also take 9 points away from it to do a certain amount of damage to units that are near a objective or a piece of terrain within 24 inches of this. So that's basically what it does. It's not, you know, overly fantastic or anything, but it's free, so why not paint it up? I have the 3 endless spells that I'll do next. Those are on my painting desk, so I'll be working on those. I purchased this book, which is the Skaven. I have not even looked at this, but this is the Skaven Battle Tome for 2024. So I haven't looked at it. I haven't read about what they're doing. There's some other people who've got some really good reviews of this book out. I just picked it up because I think I didn't pick up anything for 3rd edition. So I think I might just pick up a few of the battle tomes for 4th edition, regardless of whether I play the faction or not. I do have Skaven. I bought the Skaven Tide box, as you know. So I do have Skaven. But I'm not sure, like, if I would play this army religiously or not, or paint it up as one of my main armies. It would probably be, at the current moment, it'd be low on my priority list, I guess you would say. But in the back it has the battle scrolls, I think, for the units and a lot of them they just introduced. So it's got the battle scroll for all the existing units as of now. Pretty cool cover, but I understand that this is the same cover that might have been in 3rd edition. So now, as far as the Dawnbringers go, you already know that I went through the first Dawnbringer book, and I liked the especially the stuff in the back that had to do with Dawnbreakers, whatever their the units or the regiments that you can bring. Right now they're considered regiments of renown. So I read through the second one, which I showed before, which is Reign of the Brute, Dawnbringers. This is just something that I decided to collect. I read through the 3rd one, which is The Long Hunt. It has Ionis on it, on the cover. Can't remember, it's Ionis Cryptborn. But the thing that's pretty obvious, anybody who knows anything about Warhammer, this is a Space Marine chaplain essentially on a dragon. I don't want to diminish it, but kind of does. And I'm reading this one now. This is the Mad King. The Mad King Rises. So I'm reading through this. And when I say I read it, I literally pick it up in the morning before work, and I read a couple of the pages of it. And then I just put it down, and I figure that at some point I'll finish it It's not a big, I'm not in any big hurry or anything. And then once I finish it, then I have the next one already, which is Shadow of the Crone. And I don't even have this one opened yet. So I'll be reading Shadow of the Crone after I get done with this one, and then there's one more after that that I will obtain. The next battle tome that's coming out is Stormcast. I'm pretty sure I will pick that battle tome up. I do have a Stormcast army because I bought the Dominion box first of all, which has them in it, and then I also bought the Skaventide box. So I got quite a bit. Stormcast, I'm not sure how good the army is, the army that I have, how playable it is. It's low on my priority for painting up, so probably low on my priority for playing. I would like to add one of the dragons at some point, Krondys or his brother in there. So, and then Slaves of Darkness will have their battle tome, I think in December or something, by the end of the year. Now, a little bit of the a report of the battle that I fought, and I didn't really know how to talk about this, like how much detail somebody wanted. So if you're not interested in hearing like how a battle went verbally, then you could just click off at any point you wanted to. But I'm just going to talk about how the battle went. So the scenario that we drew was, I can't remember the name of it, but it had to do with resources, and every one of your objective was basically a resource pool, and once you got the victory points out of that objective, you drained the resources, and you couldn't get victory points from that objective again. So if you can think about that, there were 6 objectives on the board, and they were all kind of at a diagonal on the board. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. With the center objectives being, I'm guessing, midway between the 2 opponents. So if you can imagine that the objectives in a lot of games are a large part of the victory points that you get, but in this game it was pretty obvious when I drew the scenario and I read it that it's going to be battle tactics. They're going to be the most important thing, which is kind of cool because that was what I had planned my army around, was denying my opponent's battle tactics and obtaining my own. So I was thinking, well, that's pretty good. Now my opponent, he brought in Kruleboyz, and what he did is, just in short, he brought in 60 Hobgrots. We're playing 3,000 points. 30 Swamp Slitzers or Gut Rippers or whatever they're called. 6 guys of the shooting ones. I can't remember what they're called, but they just hold their crossbows and they're shooting. And then he had, I don't know, let's see, 2 heroes on those big giant lizard things, 1 hero on a giant vulture. I guess it's Gobspeak on the vulture. He had another little leader that I guess allowed his units to run and charge if they were within 12 inches of him. He brought the Belcha banner, I guess, is the guy holding the standard. 2 shaman, and he also brought Break-a-Boss, the guy that's sitting on top of the troll. I'm trying to think. I think that's all the leaders. But one thing you need to know about Kruleboyz is there isn't any underboss. You really can't do that. And so he didn't really have an underboss. And so he had 7 characters. He could put like 3 in charge of regiments, and then the other 4 were kind of out on their own regiment, I guess. And we didn't argue, we discussed. Because arguing means you take a side. When neither one of us was taking a side. Both of us were saying, well, let's just do it the way you want. No, let's just do it the way we were actually offering to do it the way that the opponent wanted to do it, or thought that they should do it. And we talked about all the benefits of it. But for whatever reason, neither one of us really wanted to go and read the rules because we had a time limit on the game, so we basically said, you know what, we'll do it the way you want. No, we'll do it the way you want. Anyway, it turned out that we considered part of his army to be auxiliaries, which gave me an extra command point. It was like, fair enough. So when we played the game, I set up, as I said in the last video, I put Rodigus and his plague drones on the left, Slimex and his beast of Nurgle in the center, and then right next to them was the Great Unclean One, the Plague Bearers, and the Poxbringer. And then the Glotkin and the Blight Kings and the Pusgorl Blight Lords I intended to put on the far right, but he put nothing on that flank. So I ended up only putting the Pusgorl Blight Lords over there to try to take the flanks, or whatever it's called. And I put the Blight Kings and the Glotkin really like right in the center, because his entire army was in the center. And the reason that he did that was that almost all of his guys were like interdependent in a way. They would buff his units in different forms or fashions, either by giving them a +1 save, or giving them, I think, crit 2, or give them crit mortals. And he basically told me he was going to take out Rodigus in one turn, which I was like, geez, you can really do that? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to buff this unit up, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be able to destroy Rodigus in one turn with Hobgrots. And I was like, oh, damn. And so I'm thinking, he's going to just destroy my army, because I don't have a lot. For 3,000 points, I had Rodigus, which I think was 4 something, and then the Glotkin, which is over 500, and then the Great Unclean One, which is close to, it was like 400 something. And so just in those alone, I probably had almost half my army in those big giant monstrous leaders, and I had a lot of casters. Well, it turns out that if you pack your entire army in one area against Maggotkin of Nurgle, which is what he did, and just try to take out one area, it actually is a benefit, because Slimex was able to throw a Gnarlmaw out, because that's what he does at the end of his movement phase. He can bring one out as long as it's like 6 inches away from an opponent or something like that. Anyway, I put it out, and then I diseased one of his units immediately, and then I was able to then use the faction ability. I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? The battle formation. No? The battle trait. Yeah, the battle trait. So I was able to use the battle trait, and I spread everything within 3 inches of that unit that the Gnarlmaw put on. So, like, I mean, I had like 1, 2, 3, 4 leaders, I think, 4 units, regular units, were diseased on my first turn, because I went first. I decided not to let him go first, because I didn't want Rodigus to die. I got the Kronspine out. I put it out. I charged it to his Hobgrots that he was going to use to kill Rodigus, and I was like, all right, you kill that first, and then you can go kill Rodigus, you know, and see what you can do. Anyway, he was able to hit me on his turn, even though I backed the Glotkin off a little bit with a command point, moved him away. He still got a high level charge. He got like 11 inches. Charged me, but wasn't able to take out the Glotkin, and the Blight Kings were holding on to an objective. So at the end of turn 2, I got 10 points. He got 2 because he had an objective. That was it. And the disease, I'm just like spreading the disease as much as I can, getting as many guys. It would take me a while to get the whole entire army. In fact, I never did get the entire army all diseased up. But I took the faction ability Taliban of Nurgle, which gives you a +1 after the second turn. So his disease units were taking D3 +1 mortal wounds if 2+ was rolled. So they're taking 2 to 4 most of the time. And it was killing his shamans, it was killing his banner guy, it was killing his units. Besides, my guys were killing his units, you know. The plague bearers don't do much. So, and they don't even really, I've heard other people say, well, they're a good tar pit. They're not even really a great tar pit in my opinion. The reason is they have a 6+ armor save and a 5+ ward. Yeah, they have 2 wounds, but 6+, 5+, yeah, it's a -1 to shoot at them. But I wouldn't shoot at them. You know, if somebody else had them, I'd pick other units to shoot. I wouldn't shoot them. The Blight Kings, on the other hand, are probably one of the best war scrolls in the game right now. They have, I think, 4 wounds each, and they have a 3+ save and a 5+ ward, and then they have some benefits for controlling objectives. So they're the tar pit. They're really good. Anyway, we kept fighting on. He tried to kill the Great Unclean One with 2 units. He took a battle. His battle formation was Meanest Beasts. Weapons used by friendly Kruleboyz units or companion weapons, have crit 2 hits. And so he told me that my Great Unclean was a wizard, so he was going to hit me with Gobspeak and the Break-a-Boss, and he was going to kill the Great Unclean One. And I thought, well, he might be able to. So anyway, he hit him. He rolled okay, and I saved like mad. So he ended up putting 8 wounds on the Great Unclean One. And the Great Unclean One, I think, has 20, something like that. And so he didn't even get him to 10, which is where he needed to get to him to have my attack bonuses be reduced. And so my Pustule Blight Lords didn't do anything in the game. I think I captured 1 objective with them, and I planned on getting the other one and then getting the take the flanks as one of my battle tactics, but I didn't even get that far because we quit at the end of turn 3 because he only had a shaman left and 1 of his leaders on the lizards, giant lizards. Can't remember what you call them, the swamp something or other. Maybe I could find out. It was either the Snatch-a-Boss or it was the Swamp Boss Scumdrick. One of those 2. And I don't know which one. He had both of them, I think, on the field. Either that or he had 2 of the other ones. I don't remember. But he had 1 of those guys left and the shaman. And it was, at this point, it was 24-2. And he just said, you know what? There's no way I can win. And so I said, okay, fine. So we quit the game. And we tried to figure out what I would have got. I had 2 more turns to go. 1 more objective I could have got. So maybe 10 more points? I don't know. So maybe it would have been 36 or 34, maybe 34. Maybe 34? Yeah, I think. Oh, wait, I actually had 2 objectives. So it could have been 36, 38. Max probably would have been 38. Anyway, interesting game. I think he said at the end of the game, I would not, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't group my guys up the way that I did. Because we're playing a 90 inches long table by 40 inches deep, right? And he didn't even use 30 inches of it for units. It was all within the 60 inches. And he had 60 Hobgrots, 30 Swamp or Gut Rippas. You know, you get the idea. They were just as far as they could go out, just stacked too deep all the way across, and then there was nothing after that. So he said, yeah, I should have spread them out more because your disease needs to be close. You need to have units close together for it to spread easily. And I said, yeah, I didn't know it either. I've never played them, so I played them, but I played them in 1st and 2nd edition where they didn't have this disease power. Anyway, good game. I enjoyed it. Of course, he enjoyed it. But I don't know when we'll play again. We're going to do another tournament on for Spearhead. I've got people already signed up for it. I think I have 5, and then I'll be 6, and maybe we can find a couple other people. So we'll keep the Spearhead going. One day, if I can stop being the person who manages the rules and everything, I'd like to film it. Film the different games, or film some of them or pieces of them, and then put a video together. But right now, we're at where we're at. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. This is Old Man Sarge, and we'll be back with another hobby update. Hopefully the next one I can show one of the endless spells, maybe all 3, for Slaves of Darkness. But we're kind of getting everything lined up for the winter, because in the winter time I don't really prime or put together models. I paint what I have, so that I don't, because priming in the winter is kind of a pain. So that's the goal anyway. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.